Well, it is Wicked weekend, and I decided to get on the fun for Wicked for good. Last year, I made this video where I predicted the Oscar nominations that I believed that Wicked was going to get. I did it right after the film's release. I got to see that film a little bit early, and I knew that film right away was going to contend. I knew people were really going to eat it up. I got to see Wicked for Good a few days ago. You can check out my review for that posted yesterday. But I am so excited to talk about the Wicked for Good Oscar predictions. Again, you guys seemed to really enjoy it last time, so I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to talk about now. I've been seeing some mixed reception for Wicked for Good, which I think was expected. Anyone who knows the source material kind of knows the second act has its issues, it has its detractors, and I think we're seeing that play out in the critical reception. I want to say I don't really predict that it's going to affect much of its Oscar hopes this year. It may lose a few categories here and there, but I do think it will do pretty well in this ceremony. I don't think this is going to be a scenario like a Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, where the first one does so well and then the second one just gets a few below the line nominations. I do predict that there is going to be quite a lot. Let's just kind of recap last year. Last year at the Oscars, Wicked received 10 Oscar nominations. Best Picture, Best Actress for Cynthia Erivo, Best Supporting Actress for Ariana Grande, Film Editing, Makeup and Hairstyling, Original Score, Sound, Visual Effects, and it won 2 Oscars, Production Design and Costuming. And I've seen, again, some people think that this film will take a hit. I actually think this film may perform a little similar to another Oscar winning film that then had its sequel a few years later, which is Dune. You look at the first Dune film, it gets 10 nominations and 6 wins. You go a few years later, Dune Part 2, 5 nominations, 2 wins. I don't know if the drop is going to be as drastic this time around, but I do think that Wicked may take a few small hits here or there, but I think it's largely going to get into a lot of the same categories that it did last year. But I think this allows me to look at the race in a different context, focusing it on one movie. And that's what I want to do today, just kind of shortly. I don't want to bore everyone with details, but essentially what I did was I did a scale of 1 to 10 ranking. Basically, of the 10 nominations that I received last year, which ones do I think it was going to repeat? 1 being the most confident, 10 being not so confident. And also the one element that I really want to talk about before we get into these rankings is the competition. I think this is a really important thing people need to understand. Last year, the competition for especially below the lines, which is where you need to rack up, I should say, Oscar nominations. Last year, its competition was Dune Part 2, which received, again, 5 nominations, Nosferatu, which got 3, Amelia Perez, which now lives in infamy, and then A Complete Unknown. This year, the technical awards are maybe going to be a lot more competitive. Here are just a few of the films that I think are going to get a lot of technical awards. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Sinners, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein. Those are 4 big films, not counting Wicked for Good, that have to go into 5 slots. And I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit more of that competition, which will be reflected in this one. So scale of 1 to 10, let's start with 1. The one that I feel most confident about, which is it repeating in Best Costuming. Paul Tazewell won his Oscar deservingly for this film last year, and I have no reason to believe that he's going to miss out this year. Now, this might be the scenario of they're not going to reward him twice in 2 years for what is essentially the second half of a movie, but I don't see a future in which he misses the nomination. I think he's pretty safely secured in costuming. His costuming is incredible in this film. Ariana Grande's costumes in particular look fantastic. She gets so many, but the way they redesign the iconography of the Wicked Witch of the West and make it feel more like it does in the 1930s film, while having it still be in line with the previous film, while also paying tribute to the Broadway play. I think he's a master of his work. Everyone is wearing beautiful costumes in this movie. It is stunning work from Tazewell, someone who's been doing this for years on stage, in film. I just find his work just absolutely incredible. He is so deserving of this Oscar nomination, hopefully, and he's deserving of his win last year. Second one that I feel most comfortable with is Makeup and Hairstyling. Again, this may win. It lost last year to The Substance, which, again, The Substance has such good makeup work. And I think its main competition, is Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein will probably win makeup and hairstyling, but it is in this lineage of competition for it. So maybe if they thought, well, last year we should have rewarded Wicked for the makeup, but the substance was so undeniable, maybe they'll decide to reward it this year. Again, I just predict that it's going to get into the main competition. I don't see it missing out. I think this is another really safe ranking. Number 3 on this list, and this might surprise some people, but I've been pretty honest about it. I've talked a lot about how I felt about her performance last year, and I think it carries over, and actually she does even more with this role as she's given more to do. I think Ariana Grande, Best Supporting Actress, is a lock. I think she's competitive win in this year. I legitimately think Ariana Grande can win an Oscar for this role. I think she is so talented. She has it. She has all the dramatic scenes. This is not just the ditzy blonde character archetype that she plays in the first film. Obviously, she has more heart, but that film really relies on her humor. This movie really relies on her dramatic beats, and she hits those dramatic beats. I just think what Ariana Grande is doing in this film is pretty impressive. I don't think Best Supporting Actress is particularly strong this year. I think Teyana Taylor seems to be the main competition. You can check out my thoughts on One Battle After Another, but while I like the way that character is utilized and I like Teyana Taylor in the film, I didn't know, it didn't rise above. I know some people love this performance. Her performance is maybe like my 4th or 5th favorite in One Battle After Another. Again, that means it's a good performance, but it didn't rise. And also Ariana Grande is in just undeniably way more of this film. It is kind of the thing of like, she's the true co-lead of this film. But anyway, I think she's going to get in. I know some people are already taking her off because of the reception for Wicked for Good. I think that's silly. I think she's going to get the Oscar nomination, may even be the winner this year. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Number 4 on this list is production design. And again, let's talk about some of the competition that it's facing. Frankenstein is going to be in a lot of these technical awards. Hamnet seems to be in this as well. Taking Back, going to 1500s, England, One Battle After Another, Sinners, like they're all going to be in there. That's 4 films that I already mentioned. Like Marty Supreme's a real chance, I think, to get into production design. Like this is going to be a competitive category for sure. Again, I do think that it will get in to production design. I'm not really predicting it to like blank here, but you know, it won last year for production design. I think sometimes that narrative of you won the previous year, we've rewarded you for it, maybe we want to bring in some newcomers, might prove true. I don't know for sure, but I think there's a chance. Visual effects is a big one that I wanted to talk about, which this year you're going to have Avatar Fire and Ash, which is going to win it. Like that's done. That's not even a question in my mind. Fire and Ash is clearly so obviously going to win visual effects that the other ones are just vying for a nomination. I think Frankenstein will be in this conversation. And I think the superhero films will all be in this, specifically Fantastic Four, specifically Thunderbolt, specifically Superman. And then How to Train Your Dragon was the other one that I threw into this race. So yeah, I do think Wicked for Good will probably just get in here. Again, it's not a done deal, but usually they don't just give it to 3 superhero films. So it'll probably be something along the lines of Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Fantastic Four, Wicked for Good, Superman, or How to Train Your Dragon. Like that's really how I predict this category to go out. Number 6, Best Picture. I saw some people dropping it from Best Picture. I think it's way too soon. If this movie was to tank this weekend, then I definitely think there's a chance that it will. But the thing is, this movie's not going to tank this weekend. This film's going to do quite well this weekend through Thanksgiving. People are going to see it. I have a feeling the cinema score for this film is going to be incredibly high. I think fans of this are going to carry it out. And last year I talked about this. This was something that I kept hearing at these LA rep screenings for Academy members, was Academy members were going crazy for the first Wicked film. There were tickets sold out for the screenings for this for Academy screenings of it. I just think they'll continue that love for this. I don't really again see that like someone loves the first film and is all of a sudden going to hate the second film. That's why I'm just not predicting it to like just miss out on Best Picture, as some people are seemingly already taking it off. Talking about the competition, again, there's films that I have above it for sure. Like if I had to pick like confidence on what film is going to get in, I'd put One Battle After Another in for sure. I'd have Sinners in for sure. I'd have Sentimental Value in for sure. I'd have Frankenstein in for sure. I'd have Hamnet in for sure. That's 5 films that I just listed. I think Wicked for Good would be like my 6th next most positive. Other films in this competition, Marty Supreme, It Was Just an Accident. Netflix has 2 or 3 titles that they could throw in. They could throw in Jay Kelly. I don't think they're going to get in for House of Dynamite, but they seemingly will campaign it. Train Dreams, Begonia, Avatar Fire and Ash, you can't count out James Cameron. No Other Choice. I think these are all films within the competition. The Secret Agent could get in there. But again, I just don't see a world where Wicked for Good misses, especially with like, the reception for Begonia. I really like that film, but it's not like glowing. It's not Poor Things level of popularity. Number 7 on this list, I have Best Actress, which I did this list a few weeks ago, and above Erivo, I had Jessie Buckley and I had Renee Ransby above Cynthia Erivo. I think Erivo's 3. Her competition is tough, though. Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee, Emma Stone, Chase Infinity, Rose Byrne. Reason I kind of have Erivo at this number 7 spot is I'd really like to see Chase Infinity and Rose Byrne get in for their works. I think Chase Infinity is incredible in One Battle After Another, and I think Rose Byrne is the performance of the year for the film If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I reviewed that movie on this channel. I found that performance just otherworldly. So I want to see those two get in, and it seems like Buckley's going to get in. So it's just kind of this question. I haven't seen the Amanda Seyfried movie yet. I saw Emma Stone and she's quite good in Begonia. Like, this is already competition where I'm already looking at my list and I already have 3 or 4 actors that I want in this category. So that's where it starts getting really competitive, and that's where I could maybe see an actor falling out of this. So maybe Erivo takes that hit since she was nominated last year. I don't know, though. It seems weird to nominate Grande and then not nominate Erivo for it. I mean, she is the titular Wicked. Next one I have on this list, and this is where I start looking at it and I'm like, maybe it misses out. I have Sound coming in at number 8. And its competition is interesting. F1, which I think will get in. Sinners, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Then you also have One Battle After Another. Warfare probably has some of the best sound I've seen in a movie this year. Frankenstein. Like, I think Wicked for Good will get in simply because it is a musical, and I think the Academy recognizes musicals in that way, and like they just seem comfortable being like, well, if it's a musical, then we just automatically give you the sound nomination, assuming your film is good enough to get in there. So I do think it will get in, but I'm not positive. Original score, though, which I have at 9, this is the one where I could really see it dropping off. This is a nomination that I got last year that I think it's in danger of losing this year, because automatically Sinners is going to probably win this. One Battle After Another is a great score, probably will get in. Frankenstein is another good score by Desplat. Then I've also heard people talking up the score for Hamnet. I've heard the same thing for Marty Supreme. I've heard the score is so important to that story. Same thing of Testament of Anne Lee, which I should mention is a musical. That's where you all of a sudden start getting into the space of Wicked for Good. Is it going to get an original score nomination? Maybe they give it to other musical elements in it, but not score. We'll talk about that in a second. 10, this is the one that I would almost be confident it misses out, that I don't think it will repeat. Last year it got Best Film Editing. I don't think it's going to get it this year. Again, just looking at the list. One Battle After Another. Sinners. I think those are 1 and 2 in there. Marty Supreme, which is supposedly has great editing. I can't wait to see that movie. F1 has incredible editing. Sentimental Value I've heard thrown around. Hamnet thrown around. Avatar, Fire and Ash. Like, there's just so many films in this competition, along with other films that I haven't mentioned. What if the Academy does embrace Begonia? What if they do really dig No Other Choice? Like, there's so many films that I could just see it, those carrying over, and Wicked just doesn't, and it loses editing. And I think it could lose score. So right now, of those 10 that it had last time, I think it feels pretty good about getting 8. But then there's a few categories that's going to be eligible for this year that it wasn't eligible for last year. Let's talk about those categories real quick before we end this video. And that is original song. Now, if you saw my review for Wicked for Good, you'd know that I don't love either of the two new songs. I think Girl in the Bubble is the stronger of the two, but looking at the competition, Sinners, I Lied to You is going to be in there. K-Pop Demon Hunter is going to get golden. Like, that's a done deal in my mind. Diane Warren's going to get a third slot in this she has her documentary called Relentless, which she is relentless about that, but they've nominated Diane Warren so many times, they never give her the win. Like, just assume it's going to get in there. I'd assume there's a new song for Zootopia 2, though I haven't heard anyone talking about it. Avatar has a new Billie Eilish song. The Academy obviously loves Billie Eilish. I just think, like, pretty safely, one, if not both of the new Wicked songs will get into this category. I would be shocked if, at the very least, one doesn't get in. Like, I think Girl in the Bubble is the safe bet, and then No Place Like Home will possibly get in. And then the other category, which I wanted to mention, is casting ensemble. Again, I think, if I'm right, I think Wicked 1 SAG last year. Is that true? I might have that wrong. But regardless, this is a new Oscar for the Academy, and Wicked has a cast that people really love. This could be a way to award Erivo. This could be a way to reward Grande, Goldblum, Bailey, Michelle Yeoh, who is an Oscar winner. I don't know. Like, this is also a real possibility. I don't know if I'm necessarily predicting it, but in front of it, I think like Sinners is probably going to get a casting nomination. I'd assume One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie, Sentimental Value, Hamnet, Jake Kelly. It Was Just an Accident. It Was Just an Accident is one of the ones that I'm really hoping gets into this casting ensemble. House of Dynamite, Wicked, like For Good, like they're all in this. So those are the two new categories that I wasn't eligible last year. It did not have a new song. Casting wasn't a thing last year for the Academy. So ultimately, we're left with 10 nominations from last year. I think 8 will carry over. Maybe I'm wrong about 1 or 2 of them. So let's just kind of generally, let's just say 7. 7 carry over. 1 new song for sure. I think this film will end, if the last one got 10, I think this one's going to be at about 8 or 9. Let me know, though, what you agree with, what you disagree with, if there's anything that I wasn't accounting for. I was really hoping I could make the case for Jonathan Bailey in Best Supporting Actor, and while I think he's good in the film, I just couldn't really make the case to justify that he would get an Oscar nomination for this. I don't think the work's deserving to get in. With that all said, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this video, what you think of my predictions, if there's anything you'd switch around, if there's anything you'd have higher or lower, or if there's any predictions I made that you just think are wacky. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you hadn't checked out my review from yesterday, Wicked for Good, make sure to do that, but also make sure to subscribe to this channel for more. I'll have some more reviews and Oscar videos coming out in the next few days, including a review of Train Dream, including a review of Jake Kelly, including a review of Wake Up Dead Man. So many films that I'm seeing this week, and I have so many films to catch up on during the Thanksgiving break. So thank you so much for watching this video. Take care. Bye-bye.